Okay, so when I say Windsor, what's the first thing that pops into your head? The castle, right? I mean, of course, it's this incredible thousand-year-old symbol of the monarchy. But what if I told you the real story, the best story, isn't just inside those walls? It's actually hidden all around it, in plain sight. And that's what we're going to dig into.
Just take a look at this. Yeah, there's the castle, massive and imposing. But look at the town, spreading out right from its doorstep. You'd think you know how that works, right? Well, the relationship between that castle and that town, it's the total opposite of what you'd guess. And that's where we find our first big secret.
All right, our first section, the town that moved. And this one really flips the script on how you think a town and a castle come to be. You see, we all have this idea that towns just spring up around a fortress. But with Windsor, nope, not even close.
So check out this timeline. Way back in the 7th century, you've got a Saxon settlement called Old Windsor. It's just hanging out, doing its thing downstream. Then, around 1070, William the Conqueror comes along and slaps a wooden fortress up on that big hill. But here's the crazy part. The town doesn't just slowly creep towards the castle. Oh no. Around 1110, they literally picked up the entire town and moved it to the foot of the castle. It wasn't an evolution, it was a relocation.
So let's just let that sink in for a second. Windsor isn't a town that grew around a castle, it's a town that was moved for a castle. Think about that. This was basically a massive piece of 12th century urban planning, all designed to serve the fortress on the hill. And understanding that, well, that's the key that unlocks all the other secrets we're about to find in the buildings themselves.
Next up, secrets in the stonework. Now that we know the town was built for the castle, we can start looking closer at the buildings. And when you do, you find these amazing little stories of tradition, some really weird quirks, and even tales of survival.
Okay, get this. Tucked away deep inside Windsor Castle is the oldest working kitchen in all of Britain. We're talking over 750 years of continuous use. It's been feeding kings and queens, 32 of them to be exact, since the actual Middle Ages. That is just mind-blowing.
And it's not just old, it's full of these amazing quirks. I mean, it still has the original fireplaces from the 1360s. But my favorite details are these. All the clocks are kept exactly 5 minutes fast. Why? To make absolutely sure the royal meals are never, ever late. And the butter. It's still hand-rolled and stamped with the royal crown. It's like a time capsule.
Now, the town itself has its own share of weird and wonderful buildings. You gotta see this place, Market Cross House. It's literally known as the wonkiest building in Windsor. And I mean, look at it. It looks like it's about to just give up and lie down. It's been everything from a butcher shop to a bar, and it's just this perfect, charming reminder that history is rarely a straight line.
But it's not all charming quirks. The stones here hold some much darker and more serious stories. You have to remember, during the Blitz in World War II, even this fortress felt vulnerable. And when those air raid sirens went off, they took no chances. Imagine this, a young Princess Elizabeth and her sister Margaret being woken up and led down to the castle's dungeons to sleep there for safety. It's a really powerful human moment hidden in all that royal history.
Okay, so, with a place this old and this full of drama, you just know there are going to be ghost stories, right? Let's dive into Windsor's haunted history, where the line between fact and folklore gets, well, a little blurry.
I mean, look at this. You can almost feel the centuries just looking at it. Every single one of these stones has seen so much. And it's in hallways just like this one that some of the UK's most famous ghosts are said to still be hanging around.
And the most famous of all? That would be Herne the Hunter. Yeah, the guy with the antlers that Shakespeare wrote about. The legend says he rides through Windsor Great Park. But here's the kicker. He supposedly only shows up during times of national crisis. So is he a warning? A guardian? Nobody really knows.
And Herne's got plenty of company. Some of England's biggest names in royalty apparently never left. People have reported hearing the heavy, angry footsteps of Henry VIII echoing in the cloisters, and others have sworn they've seen the ghost of Queen Elizabeth I herself just wandering through the royal library. Chilling, right?
But, okay, not every spooky story ends with a ghost. I love this one. For years, people in the town were freaked out by this mysterious, mournful wailing sound they'd hear at night. They called it the Windsor Wailer. So what was it? A tormented spirit? Nope, it turned out to be a flock of peacocks on someone's private estate. Just goes to show, sometimes the truth is way funnier than fiction.
All right, moving on from ghosts to some very real and very surprising people. Our next section is Windsor's hidden figures. And trust me, you are not going to expect some of the names that have called this place home.
First up, a titan of science, William Herschel. This is the guy who discovered the planet Uranus. And where did he do it? Right here, in Windsor. He was the personal astronomer for King George III, and from this little town, he completely redrew our map of the solar system. Amazing.
Here's another one I bet you didn't know. Before he became a literary legend writing novels like Tess of the D'Urbervilles, what was Thomas Hardy doing? He was working in Windsor as an architect. He even helped design All Saints Church, so you can literally see his handiwork in the town's architecture.
And how about this for a contrast? For years, a beautiful old house on the river, the Old Mill House, was home to rock royalty. We're talking about Jimmy Page, the founder and absolute guitar legend from Led Zeppelin. Can you even picture it? Medieval kings and the guy who wrote Stairway to Heaven as neighbors? Only in Windsor.
And of course, you can't have royalty without a little bit of romance and scandal. This house here was a gift to Nell Gwynn. She was a super famous actress and, more importantly, the mistress of King Charles II. It was his little getaway spot, a place he could sneak off to visit her without the whole royal court watching. Very convenient.
Okay, we've seen how the castle completely shaped the town. But for our final secret, we're going to see how the castle ended up defining the entire modern monarchy. This is a big one: the name of a dynasty.
So let me ask you a question that sounds simple but isn't. Why is the British royal family called the House of Windsor? We just take that name for granted, right? But the story behind it is basically one of the biggest, most important rebranding campaigns in history, and it was all born out of a crisis.
So here's the crucial piece of the puzzle. Before 1917, the royal family's name wasn't Windsor at all. It was Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? And more importantly, it's very, very German. And in the middle of World War I, when Britain was fighting Germany, well, you can see how having a German family name was a bit of a PR nightmare.
And this brings us to the ultimate reversal. In 1917, King George V makes a radical decision. He ditches the German name completely, and he needs a new one, something that sounds as English as possible. So what does he choose? He names his family after the castle. The House of Windsor is born. The building literally gave the dynasty its name. The castle named the family.
So think about what Windsor's really taught us. The town was moved for the castle. And then, 100 years ago, the family was named for the castle. It shows you that the connection between people and places, between power and buildings, is so much weirder and more complicated than we think. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge truths are hiding out there right in front of us, just because we assume history only works one way?